to Hwagesa International Zen Center, Seoul International Zen Center, Hwagesa. So we're going to continue today with our final two talks on Bodhidharma. And what we're going to do is we finished a very important talk last week. It was his bloodstream sermon. Now we're going to just look at some other sections. Now, as I've said many times, the teaching of Zen is itself a mistake. The teaching of Zen is itself a mistake. It's like trying to teach the taste of Coca-Cola. It's like trying to teach someone who just arrived from Mars what is the taste and the experience of Coca-Cola. The feeling, the refreshment. Maybe later the sickness and the rotting in the gums. But teaching Zen is just like that. How could you describe that experience? How could you give that experience to anybody? You can't. You can't. You can use a lot of words, but after a while the words repeat themselves, and they still haven't conveyed the meaning. Not because Zen is mysterious, because Coca-Cola is not mysterious. Not because it's special, because Coca-Cola is not special. Coca-Cola is everywhere. There's no place in the world without Coca-Cola. In the same way, there's no place in the world without mind. Truly. So, how do you deliver that experience? Human beings have a mouth. We open it up to talk about things. So, when we try to talk about mind, or truth, or existence, or consciousness, or the divine, or the infinite, or meaning. What is meaning? 2 days ago, 1.5 days ago, in Iraq, at the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, 32 people were killed, most of them women, lining up to buy cooking fuel, cooking oil for their families to cook meals for Ramadan in Iraq. Lining up to do a very simple activity that they do every day. And someone came and blew up a bomb and killed them. So we look at that and we say, what is this? We look at that. Unless we are really, really covered with ignorance, anyone who looks at that says, what is this? What is it? What is the meaning of this existence? How do you find it? So, for people who have experienced the meaning of that existence, for people who've tasted that, we call it truth, or mind, or consciousness. Some people call it enlightenment, heavenly wisdom, God's grace. To describe that, it's already a mistake when you open your mouth. Not because saying things is impossible, is wrong, but because it's impossible. You can't describe it. Zen teaching, all of Zen teaching, why it's the most radical teaching in the world, is because it uses wordless techniques to point to the wordless. Mind, true self, true nature. Whatever you call it with words again. So, it's very interesting. So it seems mysterious, but it's not mysterious. It's very honest. It's very 투명하다. It's very transparent teaching. It's not tricking you with the words, being very clear. Words cannot describe this moment we're having now. What words can describe this? But Zen uses a wordless thing, a wordless technique, a wordless expression to point to this. Return to this. Return to this. This. That's all it is. So a very interesting story I'd like to tell you that's related to this. This is, I would have to say, and someone perhaps can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is, I think, Hyon Gak Sunim's favorite teaching story. Every Dharma talk he gave in Korean that I heard, I think he always told this story that I heard. It was his favorite, or one of his favorite teaching stories. But he loved to teach this story. Because in this story is the whole teaching of Zen. And every time he told this story in Korean, of course in English many, many times, but in Korean certainly, he was so, you could see, he was laughing and he was excited because this story really captured for him the essence of what Zen is really doing. So it's the story of Guji Sansa. His favorite one. Many times from this seat, he would sit here in front of everyone and tell the story. And if you ever have a chance, listen to him telling it, especially if you understand Korean. Listen to it, because it brings tears to your eyes, his enthusiasm for this story, because it really is a complete pointing. Long time ago in China, there was a great monk, a great lecture monk. He gave the greatest lectures in China. We'll say his name was Guji, actually. Great lecturer, great Kansa Sunim, a great teacher of the sutras, of the scriptures. He knew all of the sutras. He knew all of the Palman Daejanggyong, the canon of sutras and commentaries. He knew them all by heart. It's said by age 13 or 14, he could recite, he could remember a page and a line from the Palman Daejanggyong, just like that. Brilliant. It was like a computer, his head. So he was very early, he began lecturing very, very early in the great temples in China. And he had one temple where he became the head teacher very quickly. Many students from all over China gathered to hear his teachings. His lectures on the Diamond Sutra, the Avatamsaka Sutra, the Lotus Sutra. All the sutras he could give from memory, often without looking at a book. So every day he gave these talks, and many, many hundreds of monks and nuns from all over China, if they were lucky, they had the opportunity to study in his temple. So one day, Guji, after giving some lectures, was in his back. In the temple, he had his little room behind the temple, and he was sitting outside reading a sutra, maybe preparing for the next day talk or something. And he was sitting in his chair and reading this sutra. Then suddenly the front gate, opened up, and a big bhikkhuni Sunim came in. Big, tall, female, a nun came in. She had a big hat on, big mipilja, big straw hat. Now usually anyone who grows up in Korea or certainly in Asia knows that if you come in with wearing a hat, of course the first thing in front of a senior monk or your grandparents, it's not just a temple thing, or your parents, you don't wear a hat right in front of them. Take it off and show your respect. But this bhikkhuni Sunim, she was very confident. She walked in. And in her hand, she had a big staff. And the staff had 6 rings. It's a very traditional staff. You can see Jijang Bosal holding the staff in the Tenghua here, on the right side of the Tenghua. It's a big staff with 6 rings. And it's a symbol of going to hell and waking up sentient beings. The old masters used to walk, and they didn't even want to kill one insect. So even when they walked, they would hit this thing on the ground. And the rings, any worms or any insects could hear this sound, and so you wouldn't step on them. So it's a symbol of compassion, trying to avoid causing any suffering to any creatures, even a little bolle, little insect. So she came into the room with this big staff, and she walked up to him. And then she stopped in front of him, and she didn't bow her head. She didn't take off her hat. She walked around him 3 times. Unbelievable action. Unbelievable rudeness. She walked around him 3 times. Each step she took, she hit the staff on the ground. Each step. Unbelievable. Rude. Not only rude, almost a criminal action in a temple to a great Kunsunim. And then she stopped. Right in front of him. And her big shadow, the way Kunsunim used to tell this story, her big shadow completely covered him. And she said, "Yeah, you are Guji." That's like saying, "I am Hyon Gak." Yeah, no problem, if you're my friend. But a little younger, then maybe Hyon Gak Sunim is a little okay. That's our tradition. That's like going to your school teacher and going, "Sanseng, I-sanseng." And you are little Goma, "I-sanseng." Unbelievable rudeness, arrogance. She says, "You are Guji. You understand all the sutras. I don't care about the sutras. I don't care about the teachings. Sutras are only Buddha's speech. Buddha's speech. I don't like Buddha's speech. Buddha's speech is #1 bad speech. I want to hear from you. What is your true speech? What is your true speech? One word. Give me your true speech. Now!" Guji, completely, totally shocked. Then in his mind, he's checking, maybe this, some good answer. He has to give some good answer to this Bhikkhu, much younger Bhikkhu. He's looking in his mind around and around and around and around and around and around and around all of the sutras, the Palmande Jangang, like a computer nowadays, maybe like Google.com, it shows the Internet Explorer or something. It's spinning, the earth, the Jikuchon is spinning. It shows search in progress, searching in progress, searching. Nothing appeared. Then Guji said, I don't know. She said, "You don't know your true speech, even one word. How can you teach and sell the Buddha's speech?" Huh! And she turned around and left. and slammed the gate. Bam! And went out. And Guji completely shocked. Totally shocked. What can I do? What can I do? Completely, he lost his face. He's the greatest lecturer in all of China. He knows all of the sutras, but he doesn't know one word of his own speech, his own mind, his own life, his own truth. So he's very shocked, very embarrassed. So he called the head monk. Please come here. Head monk came. Guji said, call all of the Sunims, call all of the monks in the temple to the big Dharma hall. I have a special announcement. Then the head monk was very, very shocked. This is unusual. So he went, the head monk went, and they rang. We have the big bell outside, the big bell. And they went and they rang the bell. Boom, boom, boom. 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 And the sound went all over the mountains. And all the monks, some are working in the fields, some are chopping, some are cutting trees, some are working with the vegetables, growing things in the garden. Then they heard this sound from the main temple. Boom, 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 boom. It's in the temple, that's a very kind of deep meaning. We ring the temple bell in the morning for morning chanting. We ring it just before lunchtime during Maji, when we're offering rice to the Buddha, offering the Buddha the meal that the Buddha usually ate at that time. And then we ring the bell at evening chanting. So the bell is a very special symbol. It's calling attention to something happening in the main Dharma. But outside those 3 times, if the bell rings, it usually means some emergency. Yeah? Now we have cell phones. Oh, Sunim, Sunim wants to. Some guest came to see you. Okay, can you come up to the main office? Yeah, okay, see you later. Okay, bye-bye. But in the old times, if there was a fire in the temple, the temple's made of wood. If there's a fire, if there is sometimes some bad people come to the temple, want to steal things. Sometimes there's a fight. Some bad people come in and want to fight with the monks, get their things. Then they ring this bell. Then all the monks immediately drop their things, come running to the main temple. So they heard this, and they thought, oh, some bad news. So they came. Actually, I was at a temple recently in the last winter, doing the winter Dongango at Sudoksa, Jongesa, and we were sweeping the stairs. And deep, 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 deep down in the Sudoksa, in the main temple, very lightly, boom, 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 and kept ringing. I thought, some emergency. So I went to myself, what is happening? They ring the bell. Then someone said, I didn't hear the bell. Then someone said, I thought I heard the bell. So we called down to the main temple, and some Bhikkhuni Sunim died. So this still, even today, this system in the temple, some emergency, some problem, when Sungsan Kunsanim, when we brought him into this Hwagesa, and he was in his room, when Sungsan Kunsanim also passed away, when his body failed and he went to nirvana, we rang the bell. Boom, boom. Very important symbol. So everyone heard this, and they all came to the main Buddha hall. Then they came into the main Buddha hall, and they saw Guji sitting there. Guji Sunim. Guji was sitting there. Then they were all wondering, what is wrong? What is happening? Maybe he is sick. Maybe there's a problem. So they all looked up to him. Then Guji said, today, something very important has happened to me. One nun came here and asked me for my true speech, one word of my true speech. But I could not answer her. So, until now, I have been teaching you, all of you, Buddha's true speech. But if I cannot find my true speech, what good is this for you? So, I must find my own true speech. Otherwise, teaching the Buddha's speech is only repeating someone else's teaching. So, all of you, go. Find another teacher. Find someone who can help you find your true speech. As for me, I know I must do deeper study now. I must find my true speech and not keep passing the Buddha's speech. So, this temple is closed. If you want to stay here, you can, but I cannot teach anymore. The many monks very upset, very crying. Someone's crying. Our teacher cannot teach us. What will we do? They said, please, teacher, continue to teach us, please. He said, no, all finished. He got down, went to his room, closed the door. So everyone in the temple was very sad. And slowly, they started to leave the temple. 800, 1,000 started to disappear and go find other teachers. Guji went to his room behind the temple, and he closed the door and began sitting meditation. What is my true speech? What am I? He asked himself very deeply, sitting in his room, which was kind of in the back part of the temple. Then he kept one attendant, one shijasanim, someone helping him with food and everything. And Guji never came out of his room, never lay down to sleep, only sitting. What is my true speech? What am I? What am I? Then all he did, all day, all night, he sat with this question. Then his attendant, morning time, would bring him food. Lunchtime would bring him food. Nighttime would wash him. That's all. Clean his room. Then what happened was, as he practiced for a couple of months, maybe a couple of years, one evening, in the middle of the night, there was a loud sound down at the bottom, at the main gate to the temple. Big kind of banging sound, kind of fighting sound. Then Guji just kept meditating. Yeah, sometimes in the middle of the night, bad people come to temple, or maybe just someone who's hungry or something, wants some food, not bad. Many situations appear, but when the temple closes the gate at night, nobody can come in. And even if it is a monk traveling very far distance, often you cannot come in. You see Hwagisa here. At 9 o'clock, gate is closed. But there's a little gate inside the gate for people like me who come back late at night. Go around, if I give a Dharma talk somewhere, come back 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, there's a little gate I can sneak in. But maybe not in China. So, Guji was sitting in meditation, and he heard this sound, this kind of bang. It's kind of fighting sound down there. Very nervous. What is happening? But he didn't pay attention. His attendant said, "Teacher, I will go check." So his student went down. Then Guji just kept sitting. What am I? I don't know. But outside, this sound became louder. The attendant went down, and there was a man standing outside the gate. Looked like a monk, shaved head. And the monk said, "I want to see Guji." And the attendant said, "I am sorry. My teacher, he's only doing meditation. No guests. He's not receiving any guests. Only deeply meditation." Then this monk said, "No, I have come from very far away. I must see Guji." And the attendant thought, "Oh, some former student of my teacher," or something like that. "But you cannot meet my teacher. He's only doing meditation, no guests." Then this monk said, "Please, I must meet Guji." Then the attendant said, "No, you don't understand. My teacher is meeting no guests, only meditation. Okay? Please, go home, come back in a few weeks. But the man said, no, my name is Cheolyong. My name is Cheolyong. I have come very far to see Guji. I must see him now. And he then said, I already said to you, my teacher is not seeing anybody. Please do not insist anymore. This is a little rude. Please go away. Come back some other time. My teacher will not see anybody. Then the monk said, please, I request you. Then the attendant got very angry. Why don't you listen to me? My teacher is not seeing anybody. Please, leave him alone. Then this monk, please. Then the attendant, very angry. Very. He wants to help his teacher. He wants to support his teacher. So he said, go away. Don't come here again. Don't even come later. Go away. You bad monk. Why don't you listen to me? Then the monk said, I will not leave until I see Guji. Meanwhile, Guji is sitting in meditation. What am I? Don't know. But he hears down the gate, his attendant is fighting with some fighting speech. The attendant is trying to help his teacher by pushing people away. But this monk will not listen to him. So Guji gets very angry. And he picks up a stick. Because sometimes maybe it's a bad man. Maybe some thief. Maybe some bad criminal coming. So he grabs his stick and he comes down of his room and goes down to the gate. And he said, why are you making a problem? Leave my attendant alone. Then the monk outside said, are you Guji? And Guji said, yes. What is it to you? Go away. I'm just practicing. And the man says, oh, I am sorry. I am sorry. My name is Cheolyong. Cheolyong. I have come. Then Guji heard this. Cheolyong Sansanim? Zen Master Cheolyong? And the monk said, yes, I am Cheolyong from such and such mountain. My student came today. My student came a few weeks ago, a few months ago, or a few years ago. I heard she made problem for you, very rude. And you became very upset. You left your temple. I come here to say I am sorry. Oh, Guji. Oh, no. Please, Zen Master, please. Don't say you're sorry. I am practicing very hard. If I get enlightenment, if I find my true speech, I want to come to you. That time, Cheolyong Zen Master is most famous Zen Master in China. Most famous Zen Master in China. So he came to Guji Sansa to talk about this. But Guji already knew who he was and said, oh, please come in. So he said, please, come in. I want to bow to you. Then Cheolyong said, no problem. No, please, come to my room. I want to bow to you. Then Cheolyong said, okay. So they go up to Guji's room. And Guji says, I want to bow to you. So Guji puts on his kasa, like this. And he puts Cheolyong in this high seat, very high seat, like this. And says, please, I want to bow to you, please. Then Cheolyong sits down, puts his kasa on. And Guji does 3 full bows. 3 deep bows. Very slowly. Then he bows. Then Cheolyong says, do you have any questions? Anything you can ask me. Then Guji says, yes, I understand all Buddha's sutras, but I cannot find my own true speech. Cheolyong Sansanim, please give me one word, your true speech. Then Cheolyong Sansa went, Then Guji saw that. Got enlightenment. Completely. He saw this finger, his mind and this finger completely became one. So he completely got enlightenment. That moment, that finger was his mind. His mind was that finger. Completely got enlightenment. Then crying, tears coming down his face, crying from gratitude, he bowed. Very deeply. And Cheolyong Sansa said, let's see what you understand. What do you understand about my Dharma talk right now? Cholyang said. What do you understand? To Guji. And Guji went. And Cholyang went, wonderful, wonderful. You understand your true nature. You understand my true nature, Buddha's true nature, all beings' true nature. So this one finger helped Guji get enlightenment. So Guji, the rest of his life, when he went back and he was practicing in a little amja way up in a mountain, anytime someone came to him, what is Buddha? Guji went, what is Dharma? What is truth? What is enlightenment? What is universal mind? Only one finger. Anytime anyone asked a question, Guji only. So many people got enlightenment through Guji's one finger. Then, Guji during that time had an attendant, young boy, very young boy. And this young boy always watched his teacher, washing the floor, cutting vegetables, cutting the candle tips. He watched his teacher. Many guests came to his teacher. Oh, Guji, I have come from very far away. Guji Sanza, I want to know, what is the true meaning of Buddhism? Another time someone came and said, what is something that goes beyond all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas? What is the meaning of past, present, and future having no place in the universe? Just like that. With no speech. Just. So this one finger was something the child saw every single day. His teacher using this one finger to open many, 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 many minds. And this boy saw this. He was a very clever boy, very smart kid. So then one day, Guji Sanza had some business down in go to another temple. Then he was going to come back in 3 days. So he said to the young boy, you take care of the temple, I will be back in 3 days, okay? Any guests come, if any guests come, please give them tea, give them a nice room until I come back. I will soon come back and take care of everything. Take care of yourself. I will be back in 2 or 3 days, okay? And the young boy said, okay. Then Guji went down the mountain. Then as he's walking down the mountain, he passed some man walking up the mountain. Some very big monk with a big hat. And this monk walking up the mountain, and Guji, they passed each other. Nothing special. But this big monk, you know that nowadays we have pictures, we have chatting and messenger, internet messenger. So you can see people's faces. You understand someone on the other side of the world without even meeting them. But that time, no computers, no photographs. So this monk was coming to visit Guji Sansa, but he didn't know what Guji Sansa looked like. So they're just walking, Guji Sansa coming down the mountain, this monk coming up the mountain. Like that. Then as they're walking, the monk arrived in the temple, and he said, Guji Sansanim, is Guji Sansanim here? And the boy says, oh, my teacher just left a few hours ago to go out for a few days. He will not be back for a few days. And the monk said, oh, that is my bad karma. I've come very far distance to meet Guji Sansanim and ask him one question. I have wanted to meet him for several years, but I must go to enter the summer retreat, and I have to leave immediately to go there, or else I will not get there in 4 days' time. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait for Guji Sansanim to return. And the young attendant, little boy, said, oh, you have a question for my teacher? And the old monk said, yes, I do. I have a long time ago, I have this question for Guji Sansa. I want to ask him. And the boy said, you can ask me. And the monk said, do you understand Guji Sansa's teaching? And the boy said, of course I do. Anything, you can ask me. Then this monk had this great shinshim, this great faith. So he didn't care, young boy, old boy. He only wanted Guji Sansa's teaching. So he said, oh, great, wonderful. I want to ask you. Can I ask you? To the young boy. The boy said, of course. But first, if you want Guji Sansa's great teaching, you must bow 3 times. That's not to me, that's to Guji Sansa's teaching. And the monk, oh, of course. No problem. Even though you're a young monk, I want this teaching. Of course, I will bow to Guji Sansa's teaching. The boy said, okay, wonderful. So the boy took Guji Sansa's kasa. Big, it almost covered him. Big kasa. Put this kasa on and sat on the high seat. Took the stick. Okay, you bow to me. Then this monk, yes, I took. The monk put the kasa on 3 times. Then, kneeling on his knees, he said, please, I have studied many teachings and sat many retreats, but I would like to know, what is the meaning of Buddha appearing in the world? Or what is the meaning of Buddhism? What is Buddha? And the boy said, oh, very difficult question. And the monk thought, yes, very difficult. But the boy said, but very easy. And the monk was a little surprised. And the monk said, please, give me one answer. What is the meaning of Buddhism? And the boy went, the young attendant went, and the monk saw that, and very happy, tears coming out of his eyes, tears, crying. Very happy, oh, so happy. Oh, thank you. Oh, how can I thank you enough? Oh, this is the greatest day of my life. I want to dance. And the boy said, oh, no problem. You can go now. You go, no problem. Already you have this teaching. Now you can go, no problem. Then it's like, yeah, I want to bow to you again. The young boy, oh, no problem. You can go. Then this monk left. Meanwhile, the monk is leaving. He's taking off his kasa and he's leaving them. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the mountain, Guji was at the bottom of the mountain and he realized, oh, I forgot something. So he started to come back up the mountain again. And this monk, very happy. This monk wants, so happy, this one finger teaching, like his whole life is open. So this monk coming out of the temple, almost dancing, and coming down the mountain. Now Guji is coming up the mountain. 안녕하세요. They're passing. Then Guji kind of felt something very interesting. This monk is smiling, happy, and tears on his face. And Guji stops and says, everything is okay? And this monk said, yes. I just got Guji Sansa's great teaching. This is the happiest day of my life. And Guji said, you got Guji Sansa's teaching? And the monk said, yes. This Guji Sansa's young attendant gave me Guji Sansa's teaching. Oh, I'm so happy. And Guji said, young attendant? And this monk said, yes. And just... Then Guji Sansa, ding. Some feeling appeared then. Very angry. So Guji Sansa, go into the temple. Attendant! Attendant! Shijaya! Shijaya! Then the Shija, very surprised, the teacher's back. Oh, yeah, 큰스님 오셨습니까? 아유, 큰스님. Then Guji Sansa said, Shija! Were there any guests in the temple today? And then she said, yes, sir. One monk came and left. And Guji said, did you have any conversation with him? And the young Shija, well, nothing really important, sir. Guji Sansa said, did you give him my teaching? And then said, well, I cannot lie, sir. Yes, sir, I gave him your teaching. And Guji Sansa said, do you understand my true teaching? And the attendant said, of course. It's a very confident young attendant. Of course. Then Guji Sansa said, what is my true teaching then? And the attendant went, That moment, Guji Sansa was ready for this. But that time they had a knife. So all the monks carried a knife because they traveled a lot. They traveled all over the country. So they used this knife to cut their hair. In the river, sitting next to a river, boil a little water, then use this, then they can cut their hair. Cut each other's hair, really. So when the boy went like that, Guji Sansa picked out his knife and cut the boy's finger. Not cut it off, just cut it like that. It's like slapping. Like that. Cut the boy's finger. And the boy, ran away, screaming in pain. Then as he was running away, Guji Sansa went, Shijaya! Attendant! And the attendant, without any thinking, just his mind completely filled with pain, went, huh? And Guji went, like that. When the boy saw it, he got enlightenment. So that's a very wonderful story. In that moment, that teaching became his. So that's a very, very, very interesting teaching. Even this teaching, we've been talking about Bodhidharma, before that, the Diamond Sutra. All of this is words. All of this is concepts. All of this is just understanding. This is the Buddha's teaching, or Bodhidharma's teaching, or my speech, or Seungsan Kunsanim's speech, or Joju's speech, or Guji Sansa's speech. All of this is just speech and words. But the speech and words themselves, they're not important. It's not interesting to study this. Someone once came to Zen Master Seungsan and said, I want to get a PhD in Bodhidharma's teaching in this suit. I want to study this, get a PhD. And Seungsan Kunsim kicked him out. Said, soon you will die. How much understanding these words will help you? If you attain these words, that can help you. So this young boy completely just followed and attached to his teacher's teaching technique. That's not the truth. Even this one finger, if you're just following it, is not the true way. How do you experience your life? How do you experience your life? What is your life? That's your life. It's very simple.